Right now, someone with zero coding experience is building software that makes real money. You have probably never heard their name. But their bank account already reflects a shift most people have not noticed yet. And by the time this ends, you will understand exactly why. For decades, building a business meant building a product first. And building a product meant knowing how to code. You needed years of training, or you needed enough money to hire someone who already had it. That barrier kept most people out of ownership entirely. It sorted the world into two groups, the people who could build things, and the people who could only buy them. So what changed? AI changed the cost of creation itself. For most of your life, your ideas were worth less than your ability to execute them. A brilliant idea with no execution was just a thought. Execution required skill, time, and often money you did not have. Now execution is nearly free. You describe what you want in plain English, and a machine writes the code behind it. This is called vibe coding, and it is quietly rewriting who gets to build things. Does that sound too simple to be real? It is not new to say that technology destroys old jobs and creates new ones. That pattern has repeated since the printing press. Economist Erik Brynjolfsson has spent years studying this exact pattern in digital technology, showing how new tools tend to concentrate enormous gains in the hands of whoever adapts first, while everyone else catches up too late to capture the same value. He calls this pattern the productivity paradox, because the gains are real, but they arrive unevenly and often invisibly at first. That timing gap is where wealth is made. Right now, you are standing inside that gap. The only question is whether you notice it before it closes. Here is where your own brain works against you. Your instinct says, I am not technical, so this is not for me. That instinct feels protective, like it is keeping you from wasting your time. It is also outdated. Daniel Kahneman spent his career studying how people sort the world into fixed categories, and how those categories keep shaping decisions long after they stop matching reality. Coder. Non-coder. That box used to be one of the most important divides in the economy. It matters far less today, and yet your instincts have not caught up to that fact. Consider what this actually looks like today, stripped of hype. No-code AI tools now let you build a working app, a customer chatbot, an automated newsletter, or a small internal tool for a business, often in a single afternoon. You are not writing code line by line. You are describing an outcome, and the tool assembles the logic underneath it. 5 years ago, that same task required a developer, a specification document, and weeks of back and forth. Today it requires a laptop, a clear description of the problem, and an evening. That compression, from weeks to hours, is not a minor efficiency gain. It is a structural change in who gets to participate in building software at all. Think about your own paycheck for a moment. It comes from one place. One employer, one skill, one point of failure. If that job disappears, your income disappears with it, often overnight. A no-code AI product does not work that way. It can run while you sleep, serve customers across time zones, and generate revenue without you trading another hour of your life for it. That is not a hustle in the traditional sense. That is a fundamentally different relationship with money, one built on ownership instead of labor. So why doesn't everyone do this immediately? Richard Thaler built an entire body of work around a simple observation: people feel the sting of a potential loss far more intensely than the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Losing $30 building a small AI tool feels worse than the $30 it might eventually earn feels good, even though the numbers are identical. So most people never start. Not because the opportunity isn't real. Because the discomfort of trying arrives immediately, and the reward, if it comes at all, arrives later. Your brain weighs those two moments very unevenly, and that imbalance is quietly expensive. Here is the counterintuitive twist. The people succeeding at this right now are rarely the most technical people in the room. They are the ones most willing to publish something imperfect and let strangers use it. A working prototype beats a perfect plan that never leaves your notes app. No-code AI tools reward speed and iteration, not credentials or years of formal training. Your writing skills, your product instincts, your understanding of one specific, frustrating, everyday problem, these now matter more than your ability to write a function in a programming language. Isn't that the exact opposite of what most people assume about building software? So what does this actually look like in practice? You notice a repetitive task that quietly costs people time every single week. Maybe it's scheduling. Maybe it's writing product descriptions. Maybe it's organizing a flood of customer messages into something manageable. You describe a solution to an AI tool in plain language, the way you would explain it to a coworker. It generates a working version within hours, sometimes minutes, not months. You share it with 10 people who have that exact problem, not 10,000. If even a handful pay $5 or $10 a month, you now have a business, however small it starts. Benjamin Graham built his entire investing philosophy around one central principle: the size of the initial risk matters more than the size of the eventual reward. A no-code AI product lets you test an idea for the cost of a weekend instead of the cost of years spent on a computer science degree. That asymmetry, small risk against uncapped upside, is the entire opportunity hiding inside this shift. There is a practical path here, and it is simpler than it sounds. Start by writing down one frustration you personally deal with at work or at home, something small and specific rather than something huge and vague. Describe that frustration to an AI tool exactly as you would describe it to a friend, and ask for a simple working version of a solution. Do not aim for a polished product on the first attempt. Aim for something that technically works, even if it is ugly. Show it to 5 real people who share that exact frustration, and watch what they actually do with it, not what they say about it. Their behavior will tell you more than their compliments ever will. If they keep using it without being reminded, you have found something worth building further. If they forget it exists within a week, you have learned that cheaply, and you move to the next idea. This cycle, small idea, quick build, real feedback, is now measured in days instead of months. Your paycheck rewards you for showing up. A product rewards you for solving something once and then letting it keep working long after you've moved on. This is the same principle behind every dividend stock, every rental property, every book that keeps selling years after it was written. Income that requires your constant presence has a ceiling, because your hours are finite. Income that runs without you does not have that same ceiling. No-code AI has simply lowered the entry price to build that second kind of income, for people who never had access to it before, people whose only tool was a job. There is a modern mirror to all of this, and it is a little uncomfortable to look at directly. Every major platform shift of the last 25 years rewarded early, imperfect action over late, polished caution. The people who built the first mobile apps were rarely expert engineers with decades of experience. The people who built the first profitable blogs were rarely trained professional writers. The people building the first wave of AI-powered tools right now are, overwhelmingly, not professional software developers. They are simply the ones who moved while everyone else was still deciding whether it was worth trying. History does not reward the person who understood a shift the best. It rewards the person who acted on it first, even clumsily. None of this means every no-code idea succeeds, and it would be dishonest to pretend otherwise. Most small products fail quietly, and that is normal, not a warning sign telling you to avoid starting at all. The cost of testing an idea has fallen so far that failure barely costs you anything beyond a weekend of your time. That changes the underlying math on caution itself. When the downside of trying something is small and the upside is a genuinely new income stream, waiting becomes the riskier choice, not the safer one. Ask yourself honestly, what has caution actually protected you from so far? There is also a psychological cost to standing still that rarely gets named. Every month you wait, the gap Eric Brynjolfsson described does not stay open forever. More tools launch, more people adapt, and the advantage of moving early quietly shrinks for everyone who has not started yet. This is not meant to create panic. It is meant to replace vague hesitation with an honest deadline, even if that deadline is one you set for yourself. There is one more piece worth naming honestly. Money built this way rarely arrives in a single dramatic moment. It arrives as $10, then $40, then a few hundred, distributed across small monthly payments from people who found your tool genuinely useful. That slow, compounding shape looks unremarkable at first, almost disappointing compared to how it gets described online. But the same shape describes almost every durable form of wealth that has ever existed. Warren Buffett has said for decades that his fortune came from thousands of ordinary decisions compounding quietly over an extremely long period of time, not from a small number of dramatic bets. A no-code AI product that earns a modest, steady amount each month is not a lottery ticket. It is closer to owning a very small, very simple business, one that happens to cost almost nothing to start. Your future is not being decided by how much code you know. It is being decided by how many small, imperfect things you are willing to build before you feel fully ready. The tools have already removed the old excuse of technical skill. What remains is only the decision to use them, this week, not someday. Right now, someone with zero coding experience is building software that makes real money. That someone could be you, and the only thing standing between this moment and your bank account is the decision to begin.